Hi. I'm going to be telling you all the different stories of Advent today. So this lesson obviously won't all be told on the same day. I'm going to share a little bit of an introduction to Advent, and then we'll just go one after another, after another, after another, so you get the whole spectrum of Advent. And the reason for that is that sometimes maybe you'll be sharing on week 3 of Advent, and you're going to be asked to look back and kind of revisit the previous week. So it will be helpful to watch the whole season so that you can kind of speak with clarity about the things that came before the week that you're sharing about and the weeks after the one that you're sharing about. So forgive the length of it, but I hope it will be helpful so you kind of see the whole story and you can make sure to tie it all together, even if you're not serving every single Sunday throughout Advent. And please forgive me ahead of time if I cough a lot during the lesson. I'm just coming over a cold. So anyway, so during the Advent season, the schedule is the same. They'll be coming in and you'll have a little bit of introduction time. As they're coming in, this is a really important time to give them the chance to feel included, to make them feel welcome in the classroom. And I always recommend trying to learn all of their names because it goes such a long way, especially with the little ones, to be acknowledged and called by name. So please take a moment to do that. And as they enter in, you can go around the circle and share their name. With the older kids, you could have them share their name and an adjective that begins with the same letter as their name, maybe something that describes them. For example, I could be Jumpy Julia or Joyful Julia, and they could come up with something on their own. With the younger ones, you could have them go around and share their favorite thing about the winter season, or maybe even reflecting back on Thanksgiving and the things that they ate at Thanksgiving, maybe their favorite kind of pie. You can really talk about just about anything so that they have the opportunity to sort of warm up and get settled in as they're arriving. It also allows time for the stragglers to come in because sometimes it takes a while for everyone to show up. And then as you begin, you'll always take a moment to move the arrow on the circle of the church here. So I can't see it in the video, but as we enter Advent, you'll be moving it across these purple squares up here at the top, getting closer and closer to Christmas. So there are 4 Sundays in Advent, preemptive to Christmas, and then the Sunday after Christmas is when we'll celebrate with that white square that has the star in it. So really there are 5 days that I'll be covering today, but the first 4 are those preceding Christmas. And as you're going through, just another couple of caveats since I'm telling you the whole thing all at once, is you'll be lighting candles, and when you're lighting the candle for week 3, you'll also light the candle for week 1 and 2 along the way, and of course you won't light the Christ candle until Christmas Day or the Sunday after Christmas. So as you're moving forward through all the lessons, you'll take a moment to light and revisit the lessons that came the weeks before. So you'll always really be telling the whole story, even though you'll be focusing specifically on one part. You don't have to go into as much detail about the previous weeks, maybe just touching base and saying, remember last week we talked about this part of the Christmas story and this part of the rescue plan. And in the Jesus Storybook Bible, you'll also be able to read from all the various stories, but you really don't need to read the whole story each time. You can just focus on the one that tells about that aspect of the story. Let's see. So it all begins, excuse me, the Advent story begins in the Jesus Storybook Bible with the story called He's Here, and that is on page 176. So you can kind of go back to that each time and then find the most pertinent part of the story, whether it's about the shepherds or the wise men. All of that is here in the Jesus Storybook Bible, which I definitely recommend using as your resource. Most of the families at Trinity read this storybook at home, especially connected with the Advent season. It's also just such an accessible version of the story that's a little bit more of a story narrative that encapsulates from the Old Testament all the way up through the New Testament about the same thread of the rescue plan of Jesus and our salvation. So it's really helpful for kids to wrap their heads around the connections between the Old and New Testament. So you'll use that throughout as well. And I suppose that's kind of all the introductory stuff. As I go through the lesson, I'm just going to barrel through one after another after another. And if you need to skip ahead, feel free to do that. But the story elements will always be the same. They'll all be in a box together, or in a basket, I should say, together with all the pieces. So you don't really have to go around gathering pieces. They'll all be included and ready to go for you here on the sacred shelves. So, okay, let's get started. All right, friends, here we are. Everything has changed. Everything is new. We've been talking about the color green for so long, but now look, purple. I bet you know what that means. It's now the time of the color purple, and it's a season of getting ready. Whether we're getting ready for Easter or whether we're getting ready for Christmas, purple is the color that helps us to do that. Now, you might know that the color purple is the color of kings and queens, royalty, people that are very important and special. A long time ago, purple was such an expensive color that only the people with the most money were able to get purple clothes or purple curtains or purple blankets or purple rugs because it was so expensive to make the color purple. It's hard to find the color purple that strongly in nature, so it's expensive. Now, no one was even allowed to wear purple in those days except for royal people. Roman citizens could wear a little stripe of purple, but that was all. It was so expensive and so difficult to dye things, the color purple back then. So when we see the color purple even today, here in the church, we think of that as a serious color. And something serious, as you know, is about to happen. We're getting ready for something really important. Because a king is coming, but he's not the kind of king that people thought was coming. Remember when we talked about the prophets and we talked about Isaiah and all the things that they said to help the people get ready? Even though they said he was going to be a different kind of king, a lot of them imagined a king with a crown, a king with an army, a king that would do battle to bring justice, knock down other armies, take over cities. That's the kind of king they were imagining. But this king had no army, no big, huge house or palace, no riches. You know, this king, he was a baby, a teeny tiny baby. Not just a baby born in a barn. Not what people were expecting. Now, the king who is coming is still coming. This is full of mystery. This is full of questions and wondering. You know, a mystery is hard to enter into sometimes. That is why this time of Advent is really important. Because sometimes people can walk right through a mystery and not even know that it's there. Sometimes people are so distracted by other things that as they walk through, they don't even notice the clues. They don't even notice the things that are right there in front of them. We don't want to miss the mystery. This time of year, you will see people doing this and that and getting busy and spending money and getting stressed out and worrying and fretting. You'll see people getting excited about things that have nothing to do with Jesus. And that's okay sometimes, but you don't want to miss the mystery. You don't want to miss the real reason that we're talking about Jesus. You don't want to miss the real reason that we call it Christmas. The real reason that we gather and get ready. Maybe those people don't know how to get ready. Maybe they just forgot how. You know that there are 4 weeks to help us get ready. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks to help us get ready. They're called Advent. You've heard that word before. Advent. We are all on our way to the story that happened in Bethlehem. We are all on a journey toward Christmas. We don't want to miss it. We don't want to get so busy with all those other things that we don't stop, quietly listen to all the things that God is doing to help us get ready, to help us see the mystery for what it is. All of you are on this journey with me. So let's go. Ready? Let's go with the prophets, the Holy Family, the shepherds, the angels, the magi, and all the rest who make this journey not just back then, it's also right now. I know that's strange. But we're going to make that story journey again. Every year we get to do it again and again. Now, let's begin. This is a card that helps us to think about prophets. We just learned about the prophets last week and the week before. Prophets, as you know, are people who come so close to God, and God comes so close to them that they know what is most important. They listen to God, they pay attention to God, and they begin to understand what God wants the people to know. Many years ago, before Jesus was born, the prophets pointed the way to Bethlehem. Bethlehem, the city where Jesus would be born. They didn't know exactly what was going to happen in Bethlehem, but they knew that this was the place. There was something about Bethlehem. So they pointed the way and said, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Stop. Everybody, they said, stop. Watch. Something incredible is going to happen in Bethlehem. Pay attention, they said. Get ready. Now, prophets are the people who know the most important things. They know which way to go. They are the ones that showed us the way. They are the ones that help explain why we're going to the different places we're going. Prophets are very important. They're like the voice of God through the people. They speak the word of God and teach so that we can understand what is best. Now, the prophets are so important because they help the world begin to get ready. We've been getting ready for weeks. The prophets are a big part of that. Without their words, you may not have been looking toward Bethlehem. In fact, without the prophets, maybe nobody would be looking toward Bethlehem. They might have missed it. They might have missed out on the mystery had it not been for the prophets. But now we can go to Bethlehem too. Let's light a candle to remind us of the prophets. Now, teachers, at this time, if you're comfortable, and if you feel that the class is manageable, you can turn off the overhead lights, the larger lights in the classroom. I would leave the lamps on, but you can turn off the overhead lights just to make the candle even more vibrant and more magnificent, because it really does make a huge difference when you see it in the dimmer light. Now, I want to show you something very strange and very important. I want to show you something that happens to this light, the light of the prophets. See how there's just one candle here? It's just the first week of Advent, so we lit just one candle here. I want to show you what happens to this light, the light of the prophets. I want you to watch how it changes.